He's actually on TV. Let's go down and stay. I'll get my mind. And you guys can go to your stuff. Yeah, you and I will go later. I'll go over what I did. Okay. Yeah, my last video is not exceeded. Right there. It might be see, it might be true. I'm not getting graphic. What's up, y'all? Good morning. Ah, Lord, have mercy. Okay, so I like looking around, going, where the blanket? Wait, to have an emergency came up. I'm like, I don't know, our city is a year ago. We'll get the license, and I don't know. I'm like, Jiminy Christmas, we got so much to do. So hopefully you're all watching. It's my way of smiling. So this morning's going to be incredibly exciting. I've been looking forward to, there's a lot today. Today, hopefully, if things go the way I anticipate they're going to go, today's one of those Saturdays that we're going to look back and recognize a very fundamental shift on a variety of different things. Technology, man. No one carries a pen anymore.
So you got a pen, it just doesn't work.
So what we're gonna do is the first thing is, the first part of the meeting today is I'm excited. We're gonna spend 20-25 minutes going over, and we're gonna do this every Saturday, is a different part of the lineup. And so, and what it means. We're gonna have different people come up and kind of walk through the meanings of it and stuff like that. And there's multiple reasons for it. There's multiple skill sets that are coming from it. And I'm really excited. And I know Suits worked really hard on it. So I'm excited to kind of have you guys work through this and be able to have that piece. So here's the blank copies with that. I'm gonna get Victor and Tony set up and stuff like that. But we'll go through this. So welcome the awesome Sue to it.
Nice, huh? Sorry. Okay. Okay, so, hey, there's a lot of us. Where is everybody? They knew I was talking. There you go. I don't know. All right. So, like Brett said, we're doing a part of the lineup, and the part of the lineup today is going to be the scout team. So we're going to go through what it means. Okay. So I'm going to just pass these out. Oh, thanks. That's awesome. I can do that. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. It's so strange because I'm left-handed that when I do this, I want to turn it like this so that I can write, and it's no longer. I'm going to try and leave it where it's supposed to go, right? Okay. All right, cool. All right, so let's go through, first of all, and just put what we already know. So we're going to put down what it is as far as the lineup goes, okay? So you guys want to run through it together? You want to write it real fast first?
Let's
We'll
go.
give you guys the choice.
Scout team.
Scout team,
Farm
Alright.
system.
farm system, draft board,
Roster.
roster,
Player.
player. Come on, somebody else.
Starter.
Starter,
Coach. Captain.
captain. Now you got coach.
Team
Okay. And
owner.
team owner. Cool. It was fun. Okay. Okay, so I'll do it right. There we go. They'll walk around like that. Okay. All right, and then what's the action word for the scout team? Cultivate. And parts. Intro. Okay.
I.
Ally.
Advocate.
Advocate. And what are the reasons?
Reason.
3 reasons. They are.
Half.
Half. Someone's a half. Okay.
Not motivated.
Not motivated right
Right
now.
now.
Yeah, and that's important. We'll talk about that. Okay, and last one.
Stigma.
Stigma against or about. Sorry, not against, but
You are the company.
Huh?
You are the company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you or the. And then of course you can fill in the let's just go ahead and do that too. Under farm system, we've got bullpen, right? Now and then. Okay. So I want kind of, because we've done this once before, were you guys all here when we did the scout team one before? It's been a month. It's been over a month.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Because I thought what we do is kind of have a conversation. So please, let's not me. It's all of us. Okay, so we'll have some fun with it instead. And I think it's easier anyway, and we'll come up with things that maybe we didn't even come up with before, which is kind of cool. So, okay. So the scout team, you know, it's so funny because I always put notes because I want to know where I'm going with everything. So I do it all over the place on this. And then I can't read it anyway because it's too small. So, but what is, let's start with what is the scout team? I mean, if you had to say a word that would describe the scout team or a couple words that would describe the scout team, what would that be?
Be your support system.
Your support system? Okay, what else? Okay, look, the scout team is actually the feeder system for our business. And I'll go through and we'll explain that a little bit better as we're going along, okay? But for right now, it's the feeder system for our business. Okay, and it's made up of, and we've already said that, the intro, allies, and advocates, right? All right, so how did we get to the scout team to begin with? Where did we come from? How come someone's on the scout team? What happened?
Somebody that said no at the time of the farm system.
Of the farm system, what happened on the farm system? And say we had a bullpen appointment with them, and we talked about
Yeah,
We talked about-
Or you talked about business options.
the business opportunity, right? We gave the access gap conversation, right?
Right.
And asked them if they would be open, and they said
No.
no. Okay,
Not at the moment.
not at the moment. And they said no for one of 3 reasons, right?
Yes.
Which were again path,
They're fired.
not motivated right now,
On the student.
or stigma about.
Farmer.
All right. Let's go back for just a second, because what I want to do now is I want to start talking about what all of this means. What's the action word? What word do we associate with the scout team? What do we do with somebody that's on the scout team?
Cultivate.
We cultivate. Okay, what's cultivate mean? I mean, the word itself, what does cultivate mean? If I'm cultivating something, what's that mean?
When you're setting people, you're setting it up, you're moving around. You know?
Okay, all right. Anybody else?
To spend.
See, that's one of those words, right? I started thinking about that and I thought, cultivate, it's a perfect word, but I go, I'm just gonna look it up anyway. Because what does it really mean? It means to develop or strengthen or improve. And in this case, we're talking about relationships, right?
Right.
So why would that be important to our business? Why would it be important that we cultivate the relationships in our business?
Because you're different from strengthening your relationship with any of the people that are in your ally or advocates.
Okay, absolutely. What does that actually mean for our business? Let me reword that a little bit. What would that do for our business? If we have relationships with a lot of people, strong relationships that we can go back to, and I'm going to explain a lot more of this as we're going on, so I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. What can that actually do for our business? How can it help our business?
They can strengthen and grow it.
Strengthen and grow it. And in this case, the word sustainability. So it gives our business sustainability. I can't spell any better than and growth for our business. Okay. Let me ask you a question. Why would that be important? Why in the world would having strength, sustainability, and growth in our business even be important?
Because we're building a distribution company.
We're building a distribution company. And to make it really simple and things that all of you guys can go back and really identify with. I had to look at who was in the room, but all of us can really identify with. Go back to our old business, to Sandlot.
Mm-hmm.
And when we built a relationship or when we had a relationship with somebody, maybe we prospected them in Walmart or somewhere, right? And we built a relationship at least for a period of time, long enough to get into their home and find out if they were interested in something, right?
Right.
And then they said no, and what happened? That was it.
That's,
They went away.
Yeah.
So we were constantly starting over again, over and over and over again. Well, if we have sustainability and growth in our business, that means that we don't have to continually start over again. So that might be kind of important for our business, right?
It is.
Okay. All right. Now let's go to why we even want to build relationships with people. I mean, for our business, we understand why generally we will want to, but why specifically on these people? If somebody is on a path and is doing what they want to do, what would be the value of having a relationship with somebody? Why would we want to?
because in the case that their path works out and how to build a strategic partnership with them.
Yeah, strategic partnership with them. Why though? Why do you want a strategic partnership with somebody whose path is actually working? What was that? Yeah.
Because we don't, I mean, he has family, he has people that he knows that we might never get to meet without him.
Exactly. They're going to know other people. They're going to know other people that they might be able to recommend us to.
Right.
Do they know other successful people as well?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. I have a friend that she's very big in real estate. Her name's Pam. She's very big in real estate out here. I've known her for a very long time. She's not interested in this business. But if I had to say that there was one person that knew everybody, yeah, it would be Pam. I mean, I am blown away every time with the amount of people that she knows. Would it be valuable for my business to have a relationship with her?
Yes.
Yeah, because she knows people. Yeah, absolutely. Not only that, but what if somebody's path maybe isn't so duplicatable? They may know other people too. And point us in that direction. So both of those reasons, right? And I'm bad at writing things down as I go. I'm really sorry, you guys. I hope you guys are writing them down. Yeah. So yeah. So the first one is they know other successful people. Okay, and the second one is maybe the path isn't duplicatable. And they will know other people who point in that direction too. Okay? But there's something else. So what if that path becomes to the point where it's no longer working for them? Would it make sense to have a relationship with them in case that path? Yeah.
Yeah,
Because at some point in time, what?
they're no problem.
Yeah,
And then
They
they're-
can call me, I can be talking to them,
Together.
something's gonna happen, they may be open to another path. All right, you know, it's funny, I was with a client on Monday night, and they've been clients for a very, very long time. And as it happens, they're actually some of my advocates as well. But what's ended up happening is he's getting ready to retire in the next couple of years. She's been retired through the city, but went back as a substitute in the city and is tired of doing that. So now, do you think that their circumstances are starting to change?
Yep.
Do you think they're a little bit more open? She actually had a conversation with me, I didn't have it with her.
That's good.
But it means that's really valuable to have somebody that path may no longer be working. It doesn't mean that it's not going to work, but maybe it's no longer working. Okay. Then the next reason that the next person that we build a relationship with is someone who's not motivated right now. Why in the world would I want to have a relationship with somebody who's not motivated? At least right now.
That's a hard one.
That is. So what would
I
be
hate
some of the
having a
reasons?
conversation with that person.
You wouldn't?
I mean, I just hate it.
You hate it. Okay, all right. I'll put it in a different frame of mind in just a second. Who would be somebody that would be on a path that they're not motivated? I'm sorry. I'm getting all over the place here. I don't mean a path. I mean who's not motivated right now.
To me, somebody doesn't see any value in doing it. They don't really see.
Okay, they doesn't see any value in this right now. Okay, all right. What's another one? Any others?
They're not emotionally committed to anything.
Not emotionally committed to anything. Now that's interesting because is that the person that we would want to be working with anyway?
No.
If they're not emotionally committed to anything?
I think that's what confusing. Emotionally connected and not
Emotional
motivated.
Well, and not motivated right now is the important thing.
Right.
It isn't that they're not a motivated person, because that person we may not want to have a relationship with or work with, right?
Right.
But somebody who's not motivated right now. Let me give you an example. I know a couple people over the past that they had to go and they had to take care of their parents. So their time was 100% taken up right now. They could think of nothing else. They were going 24/7, trying to make everything work out. But is that a situation that could change at some point in time?
Yeah.
So they could be motivated later on. Right now, they're not. Or think about somebody who's, maybe they have kids that are going to college in the next year. And they're spending every single weekend taking them to different colleges and looking at different colleges. And they're going 24/7 with all sorts of different things. Is that a temporary type of situation? Yeah. Would you want to build a relationship with either of those two type of people?
Yeah.
Yeah. Would it be hard?
Yes.
Why?
I mean, it wouldn't be hard. It would just be like you said, cultivated, adding strength to it.
Just keep,
to keep going.
Exactly.
So it's not
But it
as
would
hard
be-
as just cultivating through time.
exactly, but it would be valuable, right?
Of course.
Okay, so that would make sense.
Right.
All right, and then the third one was they have a stigma either against you or Primerica. Okay, well, why in the world would I want to build a relationship with anybody that has a stigma about me? Okay, that's putting it in a really different way.
Well, I mean,
but
do you ever know what's about you?
probably.
Yeah.
Let me give you an example, and it doesn't necessarily
Because I
mean that
don't
it's
know.
bad. Okay, now let me give you two examples on that one, okay?
Okay.
Just to kind of bring it home. Okay, how about somebody who's just getting out of school and during their whole college years, they partied and they have this reputation for being a big partier. Hey, you guys, being a big partier, okay. Would that person have a stigma against them as far as credible and financial services or something? Yeah, could that change though?
Yes.
Could that over time, as that person is growing, could it change? Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to bring it back to, let me, sorry you guys, here. No, that's okay. We're talking about people that are on, the reasons that people said no and that they're actually on the scout team and what value it would be to build a relationship with them. And right now, even though it doesn't look like it on my piece of paper, we're on what's the value of a relationship with someone who has a stigma about you. Okay, so that person over time is, or me or you, can change. And would that other person see the growth
Yes.
as we continue to grow? Even over 6 months or a year, would they see the growth? Yeah. So then 6 months down the road or a year down the road, do we have a little bit more credibility when it's coming to something like this? So that stigma could actually change, right? And it doesn't have to be a bad stigma. I think the best way to describe that is, I was a dental hygienist. I've been in this business for 16 years. Even up to 10 years in this business, I'm talking 5 years ago, I have friends that if I were to see them, the only thing they thought of me as was a dental hygienist. Now, I haven't been a dental hygienist since 2004. That's 11 years ago. They see me as a dental hygienist. But if I kept adding value to them to increase my credibility as far as this business, could that change? Yeah. So it's not necessarily a bad stigma. It's just a stigma that doesn't put them in the light to doing something right now because what are you talking about? Got it? Okay. Can anybody else think of anything on that one too? I love your examples instead of mine.
Well, one of the things to be aware of is that, especially because we attract people that they're trying to do something different. If they've tried multiple things and they've sold Amway or they've done this or they did whatever, and then if this is their third or fourth go around of something, that when we find them, their market is going to have you try everything and don't stick with anything. Well, that's a stigma about, should I follow you? Probably not, because you won't be here 3 months from now. Type of that process of, that's a mental picture that they have about you, that as we cultivate and develop the relationship and shift our language and do a variety of different things, it's going to recreate a new picture.
That makes sense, right? Everybody good? All right. Okay, thanks. Okay, the last one. What if they have a stigma about Primerica? Question. Is what they think about Primerica our business? Is it the way we run our business?
No.
If they've been exposed to another office, if someone's approached them in Target or somewhere, if they have some sort of idea of what Primerica is that probably the same business that we're running? No. So if we spend time with them to cultivate that relationship with them, build it, they're going to start to see Primerica through our eyes.
Right.
Could that stigma change? Yes. And I think it's interesting, and this is just me thinking this at this point. But these two, the stigma about you and Primerica, to me, the reason that if that's the reason that somebody's in the scout team, those are going to be the most open people at some point in time. Because to me, it's just a matter of time and changing it, and you have a lot of control over that. So, all right. So those are the different reasons that they're in the scout team. So we know they're there now, right? So let's go through the parts, the steps to the scout team, and figure out what those each mean, all right? So the first step is scout team intro. What does it mean to be a scout team intro? What does that mean? Introduction to the scout team. Who is that person? Cindy, go ahead.
So just listening to them, so they already said, no, this really isn't for me, but something I think could be a positive thing. But so that the intro is just to say, that's cool. I get it. I understand you're doing your own thing, and that's great. I'd like to support you in it. Maybe we can support each other. But just keep in touch, and so it's really just letting them know that you're good with that. If everyone has their own path they're going. And you're interested in it. And they'll be like, wow, you want to hear about me too. And people kind of like that. It's good to get to know about them that way too.
Exactly. Do you guys know people that are, that you have relationships that are exactly like that? I do. Can you think of some?
Yeah, just met with my friend, his name is Nico, and he called me or texted me about sitting down with him because he had an insurance policy that he doesn't understand the statement. So I told him that I would grab a statement and show it to my office, so that way I leveraged the office because I was like, well, I can see what you have, but I don't know exactly what you have. And then I saw him, and then I talked to him about the business and introduction, and actually creating a strategic partnership.
with him.
with him because he says, he just ran a marathon, the LA marathon, so he's going to church and he's always busy. And then telling him like, I listened to what he was saying, and I said, well, if we get get together every 6 months and just talk about how we're doing, with that.
So what you did is you introduced the idea of having a strategic partnership.
Right.
Right?
In my own way. Not exactly like that, but yes. I mean, getting there. Getting to 110 on this.
Yeah, no, that makes perfectly good sense. Perfectly good sense. All right, why is it important that we do that? And I think this is a really important thing. We introduced them to a strategic partnership. They said no, and we said, you know what? I don't have enough people in my corner. I'd love to understand and support what you're doing. If you could understand and support what I'm doing, 6 months, a year down the road, we could both be further along. Could you see some value in that? And they said yes, of course. So why is that even important that we do something like that? Why put them here? Why introduce them to a strategic partnership? What would be a reason to actually do that?
Isn't that built into an ally and allows them to have your back and keep you in their mindset as well, of helping you out further to.
True, absolutely, and we're going to take them along the path. But there's something even more basic than that. If they're a really good friend of ours, do we get to still see them over time?
Yes.
Okay. What if they came through the lukewarm market and we know them kind of, and they said, no, I'm not really interested in the business, and we never went to the idea of a strategic partnership? Do we have any more communication with them? Truthfully? Probably not. Even if we did a little bit, it's probably going to fall off, right? What we just did is we just gave us another reason to keep in touch with them. And if we can keep in touch with them, that means that we can continue to add some value to them. And over the next 4 to 6 months, we can move them to an ally. And then we can sit down with them and have a conversation. Now, what's an ally, first of all? What does it mean to be an ally? What does an ally do? It's probably exactly what you're thinking, so say it.
Looks out for folks that may need the information that we have.
That's actually an advocate. How about ally? What's it?
Just something that we need to
Some- Someone who understands and supports what we're doing. Okay, that's what an ally is. So that we can literally sit down, we can have a conversation about understanding and supporting what they're doing, right? And we can have a conversation about they're going to understand and support what we're doing. And they're open to that conversation that we said, something's coming. Now, we didn't ask them for anything. Did they think we were going to ask them for something? Probably. Did we ask them for anything? No. So they walk away going, oh, that's kind of cool. And in the back of their head, they're going, something's coming. I wonder what's coming. So over the next, and by the way, when we're doing that, the very easiest way, and I'm not going to get into it right now, but the easiest way to do that is through our scouting report, because we're here, we were somewhere, and we are going somewhere. And that going somewhere is the something's coming. Okay? So now we have the ability to go ahead and build value again, all the way through here, right? Keep building the value, because now what we want is we want them emotionally connected to us, to our cause.
That would be an advocate.
That would be an advocate. So now we can sit down with as an advocate copy. And the conversation we can have is, you remember I was telling you that this is that something was coming, this is where I am, this is where I was. It's here. But I have a problem. I need to grow. I need people. And if we built that relationship right, what do they say? What do they ask us? How can I help? That's one. What else could they ask us? I need people, Cindy. What would you say to me?
that I might know some people that are
Okay.
interested.
How about if we've done it right, they're going to say, Well, who are you looking for? What kind of people? I actually had that conversation with one of the advocates. Blew me away. This is at the very beginning of us doing all of this. So I'm having this conversation. I'm going, we're gonna grow. I'm looking for people. And she goes, well, who are you looking for? Who are you looking for? A really important question. Why would that be an important question?
So we will give her knowledge on who she can look out for.
Yeah, absolutely. We can actually frame who they're looking for. If they ask, because do they have an idea of who they think you're looking for? Because didn't they just say no?
Right.
Yeah, they said no. So they have an idea of who they think you're looking for.
Right.
Is it who you're looking for? Probably not. So they ask, who are you looking for? And we say, what would we say? What's that best answer right there? Easy answer, really simple answer.
It's been modified a bit.
Oh, it has?
So
The you has been modified?
The second line has been modified.
Oh, over here?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm not going there
Oh,
yet.
okay.
So, okay, as soon as I get there, I'll have you tell us the modification on it, okay? I'll skip that part. But you, or somebody like you, why? I was a dental hygienist, and if my office manager is actually the one who came to me, and if I was her advocate, and she would have said, I'm looking to grow, and I would have said, who are you looking for? In my mind, I would have thought, my first things I would have thought was, who's looking, who doesn't have a job, who is just graduating from college, who's in the financial service industry. That's exactly where I would have gone with that. Now, if she would have said you, or someone like you, it would have broadened it a little bit more. I would have gone, okay, well, maybe somebody in the medical field or that is working part-time or something like that. All right, so it would have broadened it a little more. This next, can I go the way it was for just a second
Yes.
here? Okay. Is that all
Yes.
right? All right. So you or somebody like you did it just a little bit more. Also for me, it's the perfect opening for teams. Because if I'm saying you or somebody like you, I can go on to explain that. I'm actually looking for teachers, for entrepreneurs, like yourself, someone who's ambitious or motivated to do so, either to do something different or to even make extra income, or someone who's stuck. I'm actually looking for people who have, and people who have maxed out their vehicle or opportunity, good,
And are open
and are open and are
to
open
maxing out their capacity.
to maxing out their, I like that, their capacity, and are open to maxing out their capacity. Okay, somebody says that to me. Remember, my mind had just gone to, okay, now it's a little bit bigger. I'm going to the medical field, and I'm going to part-time and things like that. But somebody says this to me, people who have maxed out their vehicle and are open to maxing out their capacity, now it just opened up the world to me. I'm thinking about people that I've talked to, and they go, you know, I'm not really happy with where I am, or not really thrilled about my boss this week, or, you know, I mean, a whole nother set of lists. And if they start thinking about all these people they know, what are the chances that they just might recommend somebody to you? My next, and just briefly, really briefly, my next line right after that is if I'm saying people are open to, who have maxed out their vehicle and are open to maxing out their capacity, I'm going to get that off my tongue a little bit. If I'm saying that, I can say, you know what? If you came across somebody over the next 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years, do I have enough credibility with you where you would at least say that you have to talk to me? What do you think they're going to say if you've done this right? Absolutely. Absolutely. And isn't that our goal to get through here? Okay. Really, really fast. The last one is our hero advocate, and that's part of our advocates. What's a hero advocate? What is a hero? What do you think a hero advocate is? It doesn't have to be a right answer for this. What do you? A business owner? Okay. Okay, what else? Who else? Anybody?
Someone that you think has got it all going the right way, got
Okay.
it all together.
Somebody's got it all going. Okay, that's good. So if somebody who's really, really successful is probably never doing this business, okay, why would we want a relationship with this person? How could that be beneficial to us?
There's network.
Networking, that's one of them right now. Networking, okay, that's good. What else? Could we have a mentor relationship, mentor-mentee relationship with them? Could they be a mentor? They're really successful in what they're doing. Do you think that they may be able to help us out? Okay, so they could be our mentor. They can mentor us. Okay, anything else? Do you think a really successful person would like to be involved in your growth?
Yes.
Do you think it would make them feel good? Absolutely. So if they're involved in our growth and they start to see you being successful, that'd be a great reason to have them on our corner. And if we're doing that, can you see that you could actually have that conversation with them that something's here and I'm looking for people? Well, if they've helped you get to where you want to go, if they've mentored you on through, and they've seen you grow, what are the chances that they just might recommend somebody to you? Yeah, probably pretty good. So that's a fantastic relationship to have. And I know we haven't talked a lot about that. And Brett said we talked about that in there. So, okay, so can you guys start to see then how if we move somebody down our scout team through intro to ally and then to advocate, and as we're going through, we lock in the advances as we're going, how this can help give your business sustainability and growth. That's exactly what the scout team needs. And here's the cool part. You're gonna like this. You should read it because I'll mess it up. But this is the cool part. You ready? Okay. So if we build habits of cultivating our scout team, which is our feeder system, right? And that's an asset. And habits of working our farm system, which is our personal feeder system, and our inventory, which are also assets. And we increase our skills along the way, locking in the advances. What we now have is the beginning of our lineup and the basis of the business. Pretty cool. I did with that.
Thank you, sir.
That was awesome. That, good job.
That is duplication.
That is how we do this. That was fantastic. And what you guys noticed is she was Sue. She wasn't me. She wasn't trying to be anything other than Sue. She communicated. She highlighted the points. It was fantastic. I had a nice pace, a nice energy, and a good time. And very, very, very clear on what's going on. And so that's incredibly exciting. So awesome. And so we will continue to work on this stuff. And it's funny is this week I've been meeting with folks, and Sue and I hadn't spent a lot of time talking, and she's like, well, I got some questions. I'm like, handle any questions, I'm here, but run through the process. And so part of what we'll do is have her talk about some of the things that she did to get prepared for it. But I've been meeting with folks this week, and we've been dealing with this, and the intro part of this, I realized something. So I sat in the back of the room, and I'm like, there's a question that I've been asking that I realized that I had to ask, that I had forgotten to tell Sue that I had figured out that I had to ask. And so I'd written it up here, and I was waiting for it, and I'd put it down here back over that she was going through. And if it didn't happen, then I was going to go, Sue, read the piece of paper, because through that process. And it's, what are you introducing, right? Because when it comes to the scout team, right, we've been struggling with this process of, right, what are we introducing? And you did a great job to make sure that that's the single most important question of what's going on. So I didn't even need to write the little note there. So that was really exciting personally for me. Right, because that's, we're introducing the idea of the scout team, and that's a critical component. And there was a disconnect with a lot of the folks over the last week. So you absolutely nailed that. So, all right, excited? Fired up right now, like you cannot believe. Okay, so we've got two other topics that we're going to occur. All right, so one of them is, okay, so we're gonna, for the next 15 minutes or so, I just want you to just sit back and just kind of experience. You can take some notes if you want and that some stuff, but I want you to come along and understand I think we need to recognize where we are. And I had a really, really, really critical last couple days. Is in and kind of dealing with, here, I want to show you guys this one second. I got a little squirrely at the beginning of the week. Some stuff go on. Twins are good, but just a week, right? Just one of those. Any of you ever have a week where you're like getting hit on every side and you're not sure what's going on, and I got papers everywhere, and I'm just a tad squirrely, and I'm like I got for a bit. I got a little nutty, a little overwhelmed. And I went, okay, well, I know me. So what I got to do is I just got to get focused on something. I don't really care what it is. For me, if I just got to get focused on something, right? I literally bought the kids 3 Xbox Ones and built them and got them all together and but that got me focused, right? Because I need projects, right? The kids are all fired up. They're like, Dad, can you get a little focus? Can you lose focus again? But it's freaking cool, man. This is fun. I was playing Assassin's Creed, and I'm like, they're getting my ass whooped by my boys. Like, I don't know if I like this game. I almost stayed up last night practicing because I don't have the boys today last night. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna get good at this and come in because I walk and tight always snack me. I'm like, all right. Am I sharing too much right now? All right. So then what happened is I got a little nutty because I sat down and I'm like, okay, well, let's take a look at where we're at and what we need. Because we got a lot of this stuff done, and I'm like, well, we've got our rookie camp. I didn't have this, but I'm like, man, we got a roster camp where we've got our first Saturday, and then we got our life prep classes that need to be put together, and then we need our rookie camp, we need our rookie drill, and our kitchen table, and our financial needs analysis, and the for America tools and access support. We need, dedicated meetings for these, and then for our training camp, we need to. We've been spending 2.5 months on the lineup, and we're just starting to really get it dialed in. And then we got to transition to the access gap. We introduced once, and now it's like, and we got to break all this stuff down. And I went, holy shnikes. Cindy, this is overwhelming. And I'm like, man, I'm creating the best part-time opportunity in the history of the world, and I want to jump on the building. And I'm like, okay. Well, this was all on paper. I'm like, let's figure out where we are. And I'm like, okay. So that's a little frightening, in all sincerity. And then I went, all right, well, let's take a step back here for a second before we go down this squirrely path. And let's actually figure out what's going on, right? Guys, life's not about not getting squirrely, right? You're going to have moments. If anyone tells you that you have the secret of success is staying focused all the time, they're absolutely lying to you. The secret of success isn't staying focused all the time. You know why? Because you can't. It's the ability to get squirrely and then unsquirrely. How long does it take you to get back up? Right? Mike Tyson's big. Everyone's got a great plan until they get punched in the face. Right? Then right? That's the premise. What are we doing? Right? And so we sat back and said, okay, Elvira, it's okay to get squirrely. Check, it's okay to get squirrely. It's okay to lose focus. It's okay to be like, man, the reason we built this was in my old business, I had to stand in front of a room and say, you can't lose focus. Wait, we built a graph of paper that was like this. It had 1 to 90. You say, look, at the end of every day, you need to evaluate the things you got to do, and you got to cross it off. And if you have to circle it, if you lose a day, you circle it. And if you lose 5 days, so what do you have to do if you lose 5 days in 90? Start over. Man, you lost it because you never know where the great people are going to come from. And if you're not focused on this day, this could be the Thursday at 10:30 at night where Brett Sears was recruited. Oh, you weren't focused that day. I ran for 10 years this meeting. You know who speaks to the, hey, okay. If I don't have the luxury of losing focus, then I won't lose focus. I'll gear in. But you know what? It's exhausting. And there's no fun. There's no quality of life. And no one can do it statistically. So you're building a business solely for the batshit crazy people. And I'm like, I don't want to live my life like that. Now, I am this guy. Now, that guy gets to be a pretty strong advantage for you guys because now I've allowed myself to get squirrely so that I can learn how to get unsquirrely. Does this make sense? So, I'm going to show you what I did to help me get unsquirrely. I am not doing this for you to learn how to get unsquirrely this way. Hopefully, by the time I'm done, if you happen to be squirrely, you're going to be unsquirrely because you're going to see where we are. Because I ain't squirrely no more. I'm more excited right now than I've ever been. Literally. More excited this morning than I've ever been in my entire professional career. Because of where we are. But that happened after actively taking steps to get unsquirrely. That's the choice. Does that make sense? Check, you didn't have to come here this morning. Your active choice could have been coming here this morning. There are people who don't make that active choice. Does that make sense? Right? There are times some of you go to church. There are times you don't want to go to church. You're getting squirrely. Guess what? You make an active choice to go to church. You make an active choice to go to the gym. You make an active choice to go on a date. You make an active choice to do certain things. Start learning about yourself as an entrepreneur. What are the things that you've got to do to make an active choice to get you unsquirrely? It's not about perfection. Right? It wasn't about Sue not, it wasn't, well, Sue's like, well, I don't have it perfect, so I'm not going to do it. I'm like, do it the best you possibly can. There are 3 or 4 things Sue and I are going to talk about, right? To be able to go through, that's going to allow her to enhance her skill, allow her to grow, allow her to hit the point because of that value. And hopefully, I know she's open to that because that's the goal and the job of this. If you're irresponsible of me not to. But if she's so scared about the 3 or 4 little comment points that I'm going to bring up that she loses the focus on what she's doing, she robs that from you and from her. Does that make sense? You do phenomenal, by the way. All right. So I sat there, though, and I'm like, okay, let's figure out where we are. Because I was going through this, and I'm like, okay, I'm getting this done, and I was driving Stacy batty, and she's like, just pick one. And I'm like, you yell at me. And so she's like, would you just pick one of them? And I'm like, all right, leave me alone. And like 20 minutes later, I'm like, here, this one's done. She's like, well, pick another one. I'm like, all right. Because what's really cool about all of these is none of them are new. All of it's been built. It's just structuring it. It's freaking amazing. All right. Y'all having fun? Is this making sense? Yes. I'm going to get to this. Okay. So I'm like, okay. I watched, it's funny, I want to tell 2 simultaneous stories. And I can't. It's physically impossible for me to tell 2 stories at the exact same time. I don't want you to hear one story without having the reference of the other story. And I don't want you to have the other story without the reference of the first story. Because they happen simultaneous in my life. But I can't tell, there were 2 confluences of events that occurred at the exact same time that allowed this to happen. But I can't tell them in that story. So I'm like, oh, God, the language is not good enough. All right. So as I'm going through this, I'll put background noise and all sorts of stuff. Right? I watch The West Wing. Right? That's my thing. When you know, if anyone, every once in a while, Sue walks in and she goes, Robin knows it all the time. Right? She's like, so what was your day? I'm like, I'm working on this, working on that. She goes, how many West Wing episodes do you have on the background? Because it triggers my brain. It's brilliant thinking. It's brilliant writing. It's one of my muses, right? So, but I just finished it, right? So I'm like, I'm not starting over. I got to wait 3 months before I can start over. Thank God for Netflix. So, but I'm sitting there and I've been watching my TED episodes. I've been doing this. And I'm like, I haven't watched The Secret anymore. Through The Secret. And I'm listening and I'm doing some of this stuff. And I'm frustrated and muttering and I'm squirrely. And all of a sudden, one of the questions comes out. It's talking about the law of attraction and what are you attracting, and it hit me that I'm not attracting people on purpose. And purposefully. Cindy, I've been saying to myself and to certain people, okay, man, we got to get ready. When I built the SSD, Robert and I were talking and stuff, and she'd been in technology before and stuff like that. And when I was building and having the SSD built, I was trying to get everything perfect. I was trying to think of every potential thing. And something and there's what's called project creep, right? Where something started out at 5 pages and ends up at like 90 pages because you're like, oh, and then I need this, and like 9 other pages. And so the guy's like, look, you paid for this and you want this. This is a bigger check. And I'm like, I don't care. Like, but I was trying to get it all done at the first run. And she's like, you can't do this. You can't. This isn't how this works. I'm like, you don't know, because I was a dumb guy, right? I've never been through any of this stuff before. I know how I work. And I'm like, no, I can get it done. She's like, dude, it's not how it works. Like, fine. So we put the iterations, and I'm like, oh, God, that made life a lot easier. And then we put like 5 different things. And I'm like, oh, now let's work on this. She's like, you're happier now, aren't you? But I have this mental picture of exactly how I want things to work. And not how I want them to work. I don't come from here's how I want them to work. I come from here's how they work. There's a different set of energies. It's not about, that's why it's not about making sure, like my ego isn't tied to a line. It's let's get the right line. Let's get the right word in the right place for the right space doing the right thing. And what I realized over the last little couple days is that I approached what we're doing the same way. See, the dilemma is all of these are meetings. This is supposed to be occurring today. One of these is supposed to be occurring today. One of these is supposed to be occurring today. And one of these is supposed to be occurring today. And one of these is supposed to be occurring today, all at the same time. That means that we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people that can run each of these topics at an incredibly high level, that know what it is, what it means, and how it works, because if you're going to teach it, then you need to be able to come from the strength of what it is, what it means, and how it works. The problem is today was the very first time I saw anyone do anything remotely to what it means at a high enough level that I don't have to be in the room. Does that make sense? Yes. I'm not being disrespectful to anyone. We spent the entire week last week talking about the fact that for the last 4 years, I was worried about creating this, not about raising the leadership team in this, because we didn't have the language down in place, so we needed to create it. Right? So we're going to get there. So I have a question. Check. If we don't have the leaders in place to run the meetings, how can we attract people? Why should we attract people? Because if we're going to bring people, but the environment's not in place, the meetings aren't done, the organization's not done, the language isn't in place, the leadership's not in place, what are we going to do with them? So for me, over the last little bit, it's been this energy level, Damon, of, okay, I got to finish this and I got to get this group up to where they're proficient enough so that when this group knows what they're doing, then we can start bringing people. Cindy, does this make sense? Mm-hmm. So my stress level has increased. My intensity communication level, my angst and frustration level of people not taking this as seriously as I want them / need them to take it, because if we don't have a strong leadership team, then we can't grow. And so I can't get a strong leadership team. All I can do is provide the resources and tools and then try to get Damon to do this at a high level, which means now I'm applying the pressure of a full-time opportunity to a part-time guy that wants to be able to do this, and I'm running the same old business. Right. So I'm constantly frustrated and disappointed with David Camacho because he's not where I need him to be for this piece of paper. which shifts our relationship. It's not inspiring. I'm constantly coaching and questioning and challenging, but David Camacho is a training game player. What am I supposed to be doing with David Camacho? Instructing. My entire energy level is about David learning it, not about David teaching. But when I run at this piece of paper, it's about David teaching. See conflict? So not only, Cindy, is this a whole lot, but it's a whole lot with me going, shit, we can't grow until. So now I'm squirrely part 2. I thought I was in the weeds, I'm now under the weeds. Because I don't have an answer, but I just have a secondary problem. Not only do we not have these people, but I don't have a mechanism to raise these people in alignment with the access environment that we want to create in the first place. Motivated yet? It would suck if the meeting ended right now, wouldn't it? Okay, so I'm deep in, I'm buried right this second. My all right, chill out, Francis. Any strike fans in the room? But let's figure out what it is we're doing. And really, our access story goes like this. You gotta learn it. It's gotta be ready. All right, somebody says, what do we gotta do? It's like, I gotta have it done. People have to learn it. They have to run it. They have to master it. And then they have to teach it. Then ultimately they have to teach it, but it's still within the teaching parameter. So now we at least have a closed universe on any topic. We have a step-by-step language. When we introduce something, it has the tools have to be ready. Someone has to learn it. Then you got to run it. Then you got to master it. Then you got to teach it. And you got to teach it. I'll just put it in here and make me feel like teach it. Okay? So now we're like, this is the universe, Joseph. Okay, anytime there's a new topic, the topic's got to be ready. You got to learn it. You got to run it. You got to master it. You got to teach it. You got to teach it. I'm like, okay, now we know the steps. And I was able to pray, Cindy. I'm like, okay, now I can at least explain what the blank we're doing on any topic. And it might sound silly, but until I can explain that, the only priority was doing it. The only value is doing it before I built this language, for my head. Dude, you just passed your test. You got to write a sale. When are you getting on an appointment? When are you making a phone call? Isn't that all the conversations? Isn't that what we prioritize? We prioritize the do. We prioritize in our language the run. But the run is only 1/5 or 6th of the steps. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, we can create an energy source of getting it ready, learning it, running it, mastering it, teaching it, teaching to teach it. That's good. We got a language. So now, Shaggy, okay, let me pick a topic. Let me get the resources that I need ready. Let me put in the time to learn it. Now that I've learned it, let me put in the time to run it. While I'm running it, if I keep improving, that's the conversation with Sue, right? Sue did a great job. She ran it. Sue has an opportunity to translate to mastery. That's a choice. So now it's not a lack experience. I've battled lack for 20 years in my business where people always see less than. And I don't come from lack. And I've never had a language. I'm like, no, you ran it great. Do you want to translate to mastery? Well, then here's the next step in the process. That doesn't devalue the last step. And it doesn't overvalue the next step. They're just steps. Does this make sense? So I'm like, oh, all right. Okay, so the universe is closed on our dissemination of information. Okay, good. Okay, so we're not starting over. Okay, so I can lock that advantage. I'm telling you, this is the process that was going on in my head. All right, so I'm like, all right. So now, can I put together what we're doing? I went and stood at the whiteboard. I grabbed a pen, And I said, can I tell the story? And I went, well, here's our problem. We know what the problem is. The problem is 70 million families are stuck. That's a pretty big problem. Someone says, what's the problem? The problem is Main Street families are stuck. There's 70 million families stuck. What do you mean they're stuck? Well, the wealthy have access to the resources, tools, the not so wealthy have support systems, and 70 million families are stuck taking on the world alone. That's anyone. Check. What's the problem?
70 million stuck.
70 million families.
Family stuck.
Cindy, what's the problem?
70 million families are stuck.
Damon, what's the problem?
70 stuck million families.
70 families stuck a million times. What's the problem?
70 million families stuck.
What's the problem?
70 million families stuck.
Man, it took 4.5 years for us to be able to figure out to say what the problem is. The problem is 70 million families are stuck in this country. That's a really big problem. Isn't it? Why are you doing Primerica? Because 70 million families are stuck. What do you mean they're stuck? Well, the wealthy have access to the resource tools, and not so wealthy have access to the support systems. And there's 70 million of us taking on the world alone, repeating generation after generation. We're stuck. Well, that sucks. But I was like, dude, that's awesome. We're going to check that off. We have a problem that can be explained in 34 seconds. Check, why are you doing Primerica? 70 million families are stuck. What do you mean they're stuck? Like, that's freaking awesome. That's what we're doing, is we're solving this problem, are we not? So the question is, if you were going to go into business, do you have to have a problem to solve? If you could solve a problem for 70 million families, do you think you could get rich?
Yes.
All right. If it was 7 families, that would be a problem. Wouldn't it?
Yes.
Could we all get rich helping 77 families? No. 70 million? We could have some fun. This making sense?
Yes.
I'm like, okay, so now we know what the problem is. Do we know what the solution is? Can we solve this problem? I'm like, well, yeah, it's about access. It's about access to the financial education and the tools of the wealth to take care of security, and it's about path to ownership to take care of freedom. Like, okay, so the problem is 70 million families are stuck. How could we unstuck them? We could give them access to the financial education, the tools to get them financial security in their life, and a path to ownership to introduce financial freedom to their life. Like, well, that makes a lot of sense. Cindy, does that seem overly complicated?
No,
See, when I showed you this sheet, you almost cried, didn't you?
it's a lot of stuff.
It's a lot of stuff, isn't it? I was in the weeds. I was under the weeds. But I'm like, wait, let's just take a second. What's the problem? Check, what's the problem?
70 million families are stuck.
And Joseph, what's the solution?
Access.
Access to what?
Access to the financial education.
Access to,
Tools to create wealth.
and access to,
Path ownership.
and why does what is access to the financial education and tools of the wealth? What problem does that solve?
70 million families.
Well, that falls the security side. All right, so I'm still working on this page, but these two combined take care of the security part of our world. Why? Because you can get financially secure if you save and invest over a long period of time. Can you get financially free by saving and investing? Cindy, can you get financially free saving and investing? Why?
Actually, no,
Why?
because it takes generations to do that.
Why?
It takes time. We don't make enough money.
We don't make enough money. But we can get financially secure, can't we?
Yes.
So all of a sudden, like, okay, wait a second. 70 million families are stuck. Check. We have the solution. Elvira, what's the solution?
70 million families.
No, what's the solution?
Financial education
And,
and access to ownership.
okay, so we've got, so the solution is access. What do you mean access? Well, access to the financial education tools to create wealth, that can allow for security, and a path to ownership introduces freedom. Why? Because both of these start to unstuck that group. This one unstucks that group in 2 to 3 generations, and this one unstucks that group in 1 generation. Doesn't it? See, Shaq, you walked in a little squirrely this morning, didn't you? You less squirrely right now? See? You took the step to get you less squirrely. This makes sense? So all of a sudden, David, I'm like, holy shnikes, we have a problem. 70 million families are stuck. We have a solution. Access to the financial education and tools to create wealth and a path to ownership. All right. I'm at the whiteboard. I'm like, serious? Checkity check. We're moving. What's our method? All right. So it's one thing to say, here's the problem. Here's the solution. How in God's name do we actually solve a problem no one else has been able to solve? Like, we got to have that answer too. It's not just be like, hey, we're smart. We came up with the problem. Y'all need more money. Thanks for that. Figured that one out on my own. But we have a method of delivery, which is a strategic partnership model. What does that mean? See, everyone else is trying to build a company to do all 3 things. Do you know how good and talented and smart and direct you have to be good at 3 things at the same time? See, we don't have to be good at 3 things at the same time. Primerica is responsible for the financial services company, so we don't have to be. They've got the financial services company built to provide the education and the tools to Main Street families. The products are in place. We've got the back office in place to be able to retain the retention so that we don't have to be responsible for servicing all of them on a day-to-day basis and solely be responsible for making sure that people keep their licenses. How important is that little piece of paper? Okay, do you think I had any idea about it? No. When did I find out about that piece of paper? I found out about it yesterday because Stacey said, I'm putting a piece of paper on your thing because you have to have a conversation with Camacho. David's got to do his continuing ed. It's got to be done by tomorrow. I didn't know that. Why in God's name would I know that? I'm in the weeds on all this stuff. I have a question. If Stacey wasn't involved, an honest question, if Stacey wasn't in your rear end making sure this gets done, what's the likelihood of you getting your continuing ed done? Wouldn't have done it. So you'd have to pay the renewal, pay more money, wait. Nico's an app that we're going to write up next week that you wouldn't be able to write up. What is that? How does that affect your motivation? How does that affect your drive? How does that affect your conversation with Nico? How does that affect all of that stuff? It's one more thing you have to do. Your life is busy. Your daughter's amazing. Your wife's amazing. You got a million things that's got to get going. Do you understand? But that's our back office. I didn't have to do any of it. Stacey's like, I blowed up his phone for 90 days, Brett. There's nothing else I can do. I did my job. I'm like, I know you did. I'm not, y'all understand? But we all rank and prioritize stuff. But I didn't have to worry about that. Why? Because our back office takes care of it. And you're like, well, it's Stacey. No, it's been constructed to be a company, an organization that's going to be able to service hundreds and thousands of people. Check, when you've got David Camacho on your team and you're in a different office, you have an office in LA or an office in Pennsylvania, right? The back office support company is going to be driving you nuts about David Camacho's licenses the day before. Through that process, it's built. I'm like, holy crap, our method is strategic. If we leverage a strategic partnership model, this group of people actually has the ability to provide this access to this group of people. It's like, holy crap. What's the problem? What's the solution?
Access.
And what's the method that we can solve it? A strategic partnership. I'm like, all right. I'm standing at my whiteboard. I'm like, we got this. All right. We're cooking with heat right now. This is good. So what should we focus on? All right, so it's one thing to have the partnership. It's another thing. It's one thing to have the problem. It's another thing to have the solution. But without the partnership, we can't make the problem, the solution, a reality to fix the problem. But once we have the partnerships, then what do we got to focus on? Like, well, what we need to do is we need to focus on leveraging our partners and growing our support system. What is that? We've got to know how to leverage these two. And our distribution company is built on the fact that there's a place for everyone and a role for all of us. The purpose for the scout team is sustainability and growth. 5 years from now, everyone in your business is either a captain, coach, or team owner, or on the scout team. Do you think everyone you recruit's going to stay in Primerica? No, we're going to move them to they're going to go to the scout team. That's going to be our strongest advocate council. That's going to be a foundational place. Our true feeder system, that's where the sustainability and growth absolutely come. Our ability to grow our support system is vital. It's the key component. This combination allows us to max out the strategic partnership model, which allows us to deliver the solution to the people that are stuck. So we're like, okay, this is what we need to do with this people to deliver to them to be able to fix that. Like, all right. Is this making sense? So what's the problem?
7 million families are stuck.
Cindy, what's the solution?
Access.
David, what's the method we're going to fix this with? Right? And then we have to come up with a cool word here. Right? We got to focus on leveraging our partners and growing our support system. And that's all we do. All right. Well, what tools do we have? I got the one that was wrong. So what tools do we have? Right? So we can go, okay. So Dan Joseph, I'm sitting in my office. I'm freaking out about all the stuff that we need to get done. I have middle class thinking right now. I am starting over. I'm focused on actions. I'm trying to figure it out. I'm gonna isolate. Like, I am hardcore middle class thinking right now. I'm squirrely as all get out in my office. I'm like, all right, go back to what I know. Is this making sense?
Yes.
I only tell you guys this, some of this stuff. Every once in a while, people are like, you shouldn't share all the stupid stuff you do. I'm like, well, then I wouldn't have a lot to talk about. But I also believe that it gives us a platform to grow. It gives us a platform to be able to say, I don't expect or need you to be perfect. You're going to get squirrely. What is your break glass in case of emergency behaviors? I've been talking about this for 20 years. You guys know the little thing that says break glass in case of emergency, little fire alarm? Cindy, what are your break glass in case of emergency things? Right? For me, West Wing's one of them. For me, The Secret's one of them. Jim Rome's one of them. Think and Grow Rich is one of them. Right? I've got my resources. Going for a drive to the beach is one of them. Right? Playing ball with my kids is one of them. Like, I've got my break glass in case of emergencies. Right? If Rob and I have disconnected, we'll go for a walk. Right? There's like, we've got our break glass in case of emergency things in a variety of our lives. Can I log? Hold on a second. So then we're like, okay, is this helping? Okay. So, and this is your training. Like, this is, if you go, what are we doing? Right? It's really nice to be able to go, what's the problem we're talking about? 70 million families are stuck. Like, that's really easy to say, isn't it? Is it real?
Yes.
Is access to the financial education tools and the path to ownership a legitimate solution to unstucking this group of people?
Yes.
So this solution's real, right?
Yes.
Is there any other method other than a strategic model to be able to do this at a high level? No. Do Main Street families need help?
Yes.
Do they think they need help?
No.
So we need a method to get them to hear us for them without them knowing they're hearing for them. The only method for that is the distribution model. It's the only method. Because Cindy, you're going to sit down and show up with them and you're going to start talking to them about as their friend, and then you're going to introduce ideas to them that they didn't know they needed to learn. But they were only going to be open to hearing it because of the relationship that you have. Without your relationship, without your support system being the priority and the opportunity to leverage these, if we did that as a business and said, hey, I want to come give you a financial plan, do most of the people in our lives believe that they need a financial plan? No. Do they need a financial plan? Yes. So the strategic model is the only way to actually deliver this access to the group of people who need it. So what do we got to focus on? Leveraging our partners and growing our distribution. So what tools do we have? Well, we've got the lineup. Why? Because it's the organizational development. It's a place for everyone. Why am I such a freak about you knowing it? What it is, what it means, and how it works. Because it allows you to know exactly what your behaviors are. Working with people is hard. But you know what? If I can be clued into where somebody's at, what they're, the types of things they're struggling with, I can solve that problem. That's the number one goal and objective is, look, let me talk to someone about where they're at. We learned that lineup. Our access gap allows us to articulate the problem. I've never had anyone argue with that. We can explain it and get people emotional that fast. Why? 70 million families are stuck. We're one of them. Well, Brett, why do you think they're stuck? 4 principles. Not 70 million people are broke. This is really important, guys. This isn't 70 million people are broke. This is 70 million people are stuck. Cindy, why are they stuck?
Well, I was just thinking about what you said. You know, you're right. They're not broke because they have jobs. They're making money, but they're stuck because they're not using those monies to create a better future. They're just spending and spending and maybe saving a little and then spending that. And I mean, they're not using their funds to get ahead for their future. I mean, I look at me, you know, I mean, we make a lot of money, but before I knew all of what I know now, we were just spending it. Oh yeah, I'll save it. Look at, that was 20 years ago. I wish I knew what I knew, and you know, I knew what I knew then, what I know now.
And what do we end up teaching our children?
The same thing. Go buy a new car, get a job, and pay for it. Is that really the right thing to do first? It isn't.
We're stuck. We start over. We focus on actions. We do it ourselves. Yes. The reason that we're stuck is how we approach it. You could have all the money in the world. If you approach things this way, how long before you don't have any money? Pretty quick. How long before you're depressed or frustrated? Look, I got squirrely this week. You know why? Because I was overwhelmed and I felt like I was starting over. I was trying to will us out of it. Man, if no one else will do it, I guess I'll just have to figure out, maybe I gotta, here's a conversation that I had, I'm gonna have to stagger meetings. This was my original solution when I was squirrely. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll go from 8 to noon, and what we'll do is from 8 to 9:30, we'll have the brand new people come in, and I'll run the rookie camp, or the roster camp, and then from 9:30 to 11, I'll run the roster, the rookie camp, and I'll have, you know, we can have a couple of people work on the training camp stuff, and we can kind of muddle through that because the new people are the priority. That was my original plan. It didn't get outside the office. It didn't last very long. It was knee deep and squirrely. What does that sound like, Damon? What's that?
Sounds like you got yourself.
I was knee deep, guys. I'll handle it myself. And I'm really good at this. Then I was full throttle. Make you feel better that that you're not the only one that sometimes goes down the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
It's all right. I got ways out. I leave lights. You guys have all heard that story, right? Guy's in a hole, guy, so someone comes over and goes, hey, can you, and I don't know the whole story, but basically at the end of it is guy jumps in, right? He asks the pastor, hey, can you help me out? And he says, I'll pray for you. And he has an engineer says, I'll go build something for you. And then he has some guy that looks all tattered. He's like, hey, I'm in the hole. Guy jumps in. He goes, what are you doing? Now we're both in the hole. He goes, no, I've been here before. I know the way out. I know the way out. It's a good thing to know the guy that knows the way out. I was stuck deep. But I went to what I know. Wait, I'm not starting over. I lock in my advances. What are my habits? My habits are, let's revisit what we've locked in. All of a sudden I went, wait a second. If we apply these tools, we will grow our support system. If we leverage our partnerships, we will max out our strategic partnership model. If we max that out, then we're going to be able to truly deliver access to the people, to the 70 million families, and have a legitimate shot at getting them unstuck. I was like, wait, we actually have these tools built. This is pretty cool. So what's the impact? Well, if you build a business, if you strip all this thing around and say, look, if the market's everyone, the competition, please, I was going to say competition. The competition's done, the need is vital, and the opportunity is unlimited. I don't care what the opportunity is. Those 4 elements are life-changing. So if you take these 4 elements, with these tools and this focus, leveraging those strategic partnerships, holy Batman! So what do we need? We need people. We need people who can see it, people who want it, people who run it, and people who teach it. If we find people who can see it, want it, run it, and teach it, they're going to have the elements of life-changing elements in their place. They can learn these tools, apply these focuses to the strategic partnership. That's a way to deliver access and actually solve this problem. And I went, this story's done. Not every tool's built. Not every resource is in place. But damn, that's good. Like, I could spend my life on this. See, when I looked at this versus looking at this, very different emotions came in. This is vital because it's a tool on how we're going to do this. But my energy was going to this, not to this. I was getting sucked into this, not into this. Does this make sense?
That's just important. And that's
Yeah. And all of a sudden, so I'm like, okay. So this dialed in the last day and a half. I'm like, okay, I'm feeling better. And then this morning, I was meeting with my friend Tony, and then Mr. Joseph Cole showed up, and then Mr. Camacho showed up. I'm like, all right. And I was talking, and I'm like, guys, let me explain to you. So now we got to go back to the secret. Because I'm watching this, and I'm going through this process. I'm writing this out, so I'm starting to feel better. I'm getting better, and I'm like, okay. And then I watch The Secret, and I'm like, holy crap. That's what I said. These 2 things occurred at the same time. But I'm having this, I don't want people because it's not done. But we only need people because it's done. But my energy, I'm an energy guy, right? I believe in the universe. I believe we're interconnected. I believe that, look, I am truly the luckiest guy in the history of the world. I believe I'm God's favorite. I always have. Things have always worked perfectly to me. Right? Right? Do you feel that I'm God's favorite? Hey, can I get an amen? Right? Awesome.
He's on this too.
Right? Things always work perfectly for me. However, they always have. I am truly the luckiest person in the history of the world. I've had the most amazing opportunities in my entire life. Everything always works perfectly for me. Always. When I was 19 years old and got arrested for a DUI because I was driving and I shouldn't, I broke my drive shaft. Right? I made a decision at that point that my life was going to change and I was never going to feel like that again. Right? 4 years later, I got recruited to Primerica, and the single reason why I joined Primerica was because of the decision I made in the drunk tank at San Fernando. Right? At the moment in the drunk tank at San Fernando, it did not feel like it was the greatest thing in the world, but I am the luckiest person in the world, because if it weren't for that experience, I would not have been doing Primerica. Because of the decision I made there, this was the easiest decision in the history of the world. Things have always worked perfectly for me. Always. I know that in the middle. It's really saved me to know that in the middle. Because in the middle, it doesn't always look perfect. In the middle, it usually looks anything but perfect. But knowing that I know that I am God's favorite, and things always work perfect for me. And yes, God's David, David is God, whatever, how it's supposed to be said. For you, it's better, you better feel that way. Right? Robin's got a story. It says things always work out in the end. Work out perfectly in the end. If they're not perfect, it's not the end. Right? It's usually not perfect in the middle. Look around. It's not perfect right now. Is it? No. This should have 4,000 people getting out of a meeting today ready to charge with how good this is. And there's 12 of us. That's not perfect. So, it's a step in the process. So I had to look at this and go, okay, what's really going on? And I'm like, we've been a founders team. We've been 4 guys in a garage coming up with this technology, this app, or this whatever. Right? And we're like, okay, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, and it's going to look like this, we're going to build this, we're going to do this. And there's 4 guys in it, and everyone thinks we're batshit crazy, right? They're, oh, you're going to create Facebook. Oh, yeah, you're going to go through, we're going to go. Like, and no one cares because it's not done. We're just 4 guys in a garage. We're a founders team. And there's a certain energy to a founders team. There's a absolute pure blind faith, and hopefully this all comes together. So blind faith and prayer. Right? But then there's a shift to a startup. And then there's a shift to a major company. But here's the problem. Team Access is not a major company yet. We don't have all of our tools, all of our leaders, all of our structures, all of our support systems. We don't have all of them. We're not pretty yet. So the dilemma is, there are going to be people that we want to talk to that want pretty. And guess what? It's not where we're at. Here was my dilemma. I was trying to finish this project. I was trying to build it so that we could attract this group of people. Because that group of people allows us to hit the masses. That group of people allows us to grow. But I missed the step. The step is, we're actually a startup. Now there's a magic to this because there's a certain energy. There's the energy of the entrepreneur. Is everything perfect? No. You know who gets that? Entrepreneurs. You know what we're going to create? Resources and tools and structures and environments. And We have no idea what our meetings are going to look like. We have no idea what all the systems are going to look like. We have no idea how things are going to get delivered. We have no idea. None of it's been created yet. We know what we're doing. The story's done. And we got a lot of our tools in place to be able to get us going. But about 2 years now, we have no idea the training pamphlet and booklet that we're going to have when we're a real company. Right? We got YouTube on a hidden channel that no one can see because we're not supposed to have it. On a camera that shakes and sometimes is backwards and forwards. Who knows? We are a dead-ass startup. There's going to come a day that, Joseph, you're going to open an office a couple years from now, and I'm going to say, hey, here for all our RVPs, I'm going to provide the technology package. And here's a badass camera, and here's the, just because that'll be fun, because I want it all set, like, and it's going to be like, and your guys are going to come in, and like all of it's going to be high level, professional, all integrated and networked. It's going to be ridiculous. They're going to be a full-fledged company. And your folks are like, hey, man, this is awesome. You guys do all this stuff. Yeah, this gets done. This is what Access Support does. They build all this stuff. They've got it all done. And people are like, man, that's awesome. That's coming. I promise you it's coming. I've got the next 5 years planned. I know exactly what it's going to look like. But that's here. The dilemma is we're here. We're in entrepreneurship. We are a startup company right now. We need to find entrepreneurs. We need to find people who want to see it, who want it, who will run it, who will teach it. There's a spirit and opportunity. You guys understand we got a $3 billion venture capitalist whose checks never bounce. What does that mean? That means if you're the guys on a founder team that creates a badass system and you go to your uncle that's got $3 billion that says, if you come to me with a good idea, we will fund it. In 1977, A.L. Williams had a founding team of 7 vice presidents. For the next 5 years, they operated as a startup. They were in 1 state. In 5 years, they were in all states. 6 years after that, there were 200,000 licensed representatives. This company was sold for $1 billion. Huh? 1989. An 11-year-old company that went from a founding team through a startup to a full-fledged company in 11 years, sold for $1 billion when they didn't have a financial services company. They didn't have a bankroll. They didn't have a support system. They didn't have a home office. They didn't have a messaging system. They had an idea. They did this on an idea. We get to leverage that idea. We don't have to build it. I'm going to build this. You don't got to build it. You're going to grow through it. It's going to suck sometimes. We're going to screw the pooch a couple times. It's going to happen because I got to grow this company. But we're going to grow this. Now, through this process, Bobby Gleason, Rusty Crosland, right? I can't remember, Shark, all these, through this growth process, this first growth process, the giants of our company came. Since we've been a legitimate company over here, do you know how many giants this company's produced? Roughly? In my opinion, none. The biggest guy that's been grown, that's been produced in the last 20 years has been Mark Wells. Because he's got 3 crazy guys. One of them makes $1 million, Danny's at 700, and if we were playing the normal game, we're at 600 or 700 if we didn't take this, or $1 million if we don't take this. 3 guys. Bobby's got 18,000, 7,000. The giants in this company were created. We are standing right there. We need entrepreneurs. We need people that want to recognize where they're at in the moment in time. We got to look at our list and our bullpens and the conversations that we're having and what we're growing. Guys, we're not an established company yet. You're going to have people that come in and they're like, there's a hole in the carpet. The people that are worried about the hole in the carpet, the great news about that is we got a place for them. They're called our scout team. Because there are going to be people in our lives that only see that stuff. There's nothing wrong with that. That's going to feed the stigma primarily. But as we cultivate and develop a relationship, do we get mad at them? No, that's where they're at. We're looking for the entrepreneur. Cindy, you're an entrepreneur. You're part of the founders team. I want you to transition to be an entrepreneur. I want you to start realizing that this is your opportunity to grow, to learn the language, to understand what the problem is, to understand what the solution is, to understand the strategy and the method, to understand the focus, to understand the tools that we've got, the impact that we've got, and the need that we've got. Because this combination, this universe is closed. We now need people. Do I need this room to get good at this stuff? Yes. Is all of our lives a little bit better if we get this stuff dialed in and we can run the 5 meetings that we want to at the same time? Yes. So you know what? We'll muddle through it. Together. As a team. Because 70 million families are stuck. They don't have access to the financial education and tools that they need. And they don't have a path ownership. We can provide those through our strategic partnership model, which allows us to focus on leveraging our partners and growing our support system. It's Q2 on April 1st. Wednesday night at 7 o'clock, we all got to be here. We got to be here with our list, our top 10. We got to get ready to make some phone calls. We got to get ready to talk to our bullpen. We got to get ready to be part of this thing. Right? We'll order some pizza and have some fun. Let's see, maybe we can schedule 10 appointments this week. How fun would that be? Who knows? We'll see where it goes. But we're going to get stronger and better at it. And in July, it's going to be Q3. In October, it's going to be Q4. In January, it's going to be Q1. We're going to get stronger. We're going to get better. We're going to get this dialed in. And we're going to grow with people. We need entrepreneurs. The spirit of entrepreneurship. The spirit of creating something. Of being a part of something. Because that's where we are. The future is bright, guys. We do what's been done before. These guys are making $20, $30, $40 million a year, not 2 or 3. And you might say, I don't want that. Great. Take care of your corner. 70 million families that are stuck. You take care of one a year. That one, the only way they have access is through you. You want to have one a month? Great. The only way they have access is through you. You want to have one a week? Great. The only way they have access is through you. You want to have one a day? Great. The only way they have access is through you. You want to have one an hour? Great. The only way they have access is through you. You want to help one a minute? Great. The only way they have access is through you. This is our time. This is our moment. Do we have things to learn? Yeah. Do we have to learn? Man, I want to tell a story. This fires me up like you can't believe. This allowed me to charge like you can't believe. This allowed me to hear. Because I stopped being squirrely when I was done with this. I'm like, the universe is closed. Let's go find some people. Let's start looking for those entrepreneurs. Let's start talking about this stuff. Let's start creating the environment. Let's get people to understand. Let's get people to want to learn the lineup, like an aggressive standpoint, because it allows them to know how to manage their folks. Let's get people to want to know the access gap, because it allows them to articulate what we do, how we do it, the way we do it, the tools that we use. Right? Let's get people to understand the scouting report and the resources and tools. Let's learn this stuff. Let's devour this stuff, not out of obligation, not out of responsibility, but because that's how we're going to find the best entrepreneurs. We're going to find the most people that can make the most impact, that can help us solve this big problem when we come from strength and the tools we've got, and we attack what we want because we get the tools behind us that we get to leverage and use. When we do that, we are unstoppable. If I give this piece of paper to you guys, will you not make fun of me because I wrote completion instead of competition?
But if every word was spelled right, we knew it wouldn't be from you. So it's yeah. It's not your spell.
Hey, by the time we get here, it'll all be spelled right. We'll have an editor on staff. Guys, I'm proud to do this with you. I'm incredibly proud to be here with you, to have you guys here. There's not a group of people. I wouldn't mind growing with a few more of us, but there's no one else that I'd rather be standing at this line. This is going to happen, and you're here. You're going to be able to tell people that you were here. You get to decide what that story sounds like. You get to decide 10 years from now, 15 years from now, what names they're referencing. What do we need to do? What do we need done? We bring this on Saturday, bring this on Wednesday. Your now list and your then list and your bullpen. Who is it that we're working with? Who are the calls? And how do we start building this thing together? Oops, I think there's two. What's that?
So tattoo 79 people, 79 families.
It's about perspective, man. Everything we can do. So, guys, I'm proud of you. Let's be here at 7 o'clock on Wednesday. Let's come excited. Let's get ready to make some phone calls. We'll have some pizza at the end and really piece this thing together. So, I hope this helped. Thank you, guys. We will get this stuff dialed in, but it's a pretty cool place. This piece of paper, guys, this piece of paper moved us from here to here because of this piece of paper.
Thanks for putting it together, Brad.
Now we go right. Look at this.